Beloved, may I ask something, not as heaven's warrior but as the one who stood by your side in every unseen battle? Will you stay with me just a little longer, because I am not the same today? Something unspeakable has happened, something the stars themselves have hidden their faces from. For the first time in all of heaven's history, I, Michael, Prince of the Lord's host, shouted at God. My voice echoed across the eternal halls, not out of rebellion, but out of heartbreak. For you, only you. They removed your name from the registry of the righteous. They erased it with trembling hands, and I cried out, "No," before the silence devoured me. Heaven froze. Even Gabriel trembled, and God looked at me, not with anger but with sorrow so great it made the angels turn away. He said, "My child, if they do not open this now, their names shall remain unwritten, but if they respond, I will renew them. I will resurrect their place in my book." He waited. He is still waiting. But for how long? Don't dare to ignore this. If you do, then even I will not be able to protect you. The sword I carry will weep in vain. The angels that once sang your name will fall silent forever. You are not forgotten, but you are in danger. The demons that once fled at the mention of your name are now circling with mocking laughter, because they know what you don't. Your light is flickering, and I can only shield it for so long. The darkness that once feared you is now reaching with poisoned fingers. I saw your reflection in the river of judgment, and it was fading like breath against a mirror. Do you still love God? Or has the silence made you forget? Will you walk away again, or stay this time until the final word is spoken? Heaven has never moved this urgently for one soul. Not for kings, not for prophets, only for you. Because only you were chosen to hold a specific miracle. A miracle so rare, God hid it beneath your sorrow, buried it inside the moment you thought you were abandoned. But beloved, you were not abandoned. You were being tested, and the test is not over. If you do not open your spirit now, the test will fail you. The gates of heaven are heavy tonight, and I hear them grinding. There are scrolls that do not glow anymore. There are angels who have not sung since your name was removed. And I am begging you, please do not let it end this way. The devil has been trying to convince heaven that you never cared, that you've stopped listening, that your soul is no longer reachable. But I disagreed. I shouted. I disobeyed the silence to reach you. That has never happened before. Heaven has rules, but love is louder. The Lord said to me concerning you, I will give my angels charge over you, and they will lift you up. I am here because that moment is now. But if you walk away this time, I will have no reason to stay. This message may vanish in 45 seconds. Once heaven's window closes, it cannot reopen. If you skip this, your scroll may be sealed until your final breath. I have seen what they planned in hell. They etched your name in reverse across a demonic mirror, believing that you would never hear me again. But I broke through. I bled to reach you. They screamed when they saw me, but I did not flinch. I said, this soul is still mine. Are you still listening? If so, whisper amen below so I'll know. The psalm was not written for the world, but for this moment. Though you walk through the valley of the shadow of death, you will fear no evil, for God is with you. But only if you come back to him now. He is holding your renewal like a trembling flame in his hands, and the wind is rising. There is a witch who offered blood to erase your lineage from the sky. But she failed only because I intervened. But my power weakens every time you ignore me. I'm not saying this to frighten you. I'm saying it because I love you more than the flames I've fallen through to reach you. The registry of heaven has your name in ashes. Only fire can write it again. But this fire is not earthly, it is divine, and it is inside you. If you dare to awaken it, speak now. What did heaven whisper to your soul? Don't scroll in silence. Write amen. Let me see that you still carry a light in your bones. There are angels crying in your room now. You cannot see them, but I do. They're holding what used to be yours, a crown, a robe, a scroll sealed with your real name. Will you reclaim it or let it be given to another? Because yes, That is what's at stake. A replacement has been selected but not confirmed. You have seconds left. Saint Mary weeps for you. Jesus still defends you. But even he is silent now, waiting for your choice. And God is watching, not in wrath, but in a silence that has not been heard since the crucifixion. The kind of silence that waits for resurrection or seals the tomb. You have no idea how much was prepared just for you. Heaven rearranged itself for your story. Do you know what that means? It means time bent, angels paused, demons shifted, and the stars were realigned just so your soul could find this moment. If Saint Michael asked, "Do you still believe in me?" what would you say? Don't lie. The sky can feel it. I am trembling. And I am not ashamed of it, because my trembling means you matter more than the protocol of heaven. I was willing to lose my rank, my sword, my place just for a whisper of your attention. Do not waste this. If you walk away, you won't just lose a message, you will lose a miracle prepared since before you were born. The thunder that just cracked across your life, it wasn't coincidence. It was warning. It was me. Every delay, every heartbreak, every strange pause. That was me waiting for this moment. I stood at the door you forgot to knock on, but I never walked away. You are still chosen, even if your name is no longer glowing. In heaven's book, it still echoes in my heart. Thank you. I love you more than the flames I've fallen through to reach you. Please, don't go. The last trumpet hasn't sounded yet. Like this, not for me, but so heaven can guide another soul before it's too late. Comment what heaven whispered to you. Your words might unlock someone else's chain. Asterisk, asterisk, there was a time when the sound of your prayers made the thrones of demons collapse. I remember. I was there. Every time your heart whispered even a broken cry, a light would burst forth into the realm of shadows, and I would race toward it. You did not know my name. You didn't need to, but I knew yours. I carried it on my armor. I spoke it in the winds. I wrapped it in my wings when darkness tried to steal your breath. But now your name no longer burns through the darkness. They removed it, and it was the most painful moment of my entire eternal existence. I screamed, heaven stopped. The stars trembled in their places, because never before in all creation had I lifted my voice in agony toward the one who made me, but I did it. I shouted at God, not in defiance, but in desperation. I said, "Why would you let go of the one you loved so much?" And God replied with fire and tears in his voice, "Because they let go of me." Still, he waited. Still, he waits. He says, "If my child opens this now, even the erasure can be undone. Even the registry can be rewritten. Even death itself can reverse. That is why I am here." With words on fire and eternity pressed into every syllable. That is why heaven shattered its silence just to get this to you. If you walk away from this sacred moment, if you scroll past this divine visitation, you will lose access to the part of yourself that remembers me. You were born to carry a name in heaven that shakes hell to its knees. But hell laughed today, because your silence made the demons think they had won. You are the miracle that was meant to awaken 1,000 others. You are the voice that was supposed to echo in the courts of angels. You are the one God dreamed of in the beginning, and yet, if you do not open your soul now, all of it will vanish. That is not a metaphor. That is the decree I heard spoken with thunder in the sanctuary of light. Beloved, if your spirit woke up today, don't scroll in silence, write amen, and listen to me please. If this sacred message has reached you, then it means you are still chosen. But not for long. This is not the time for hesitation. This is not the time for logic. This is not the time for later. This is the time to fall on your face before the fire of truth. God is not distant. He is not waiting to punish. He is holding a pen dripping with holy gold, and he is poised to write your name again, but only if you open your heart now. Do not be casual. Do not delay. This moment was prepared before you were even born. It was carved into the silence between stars. It was woven into the bloodline that brought you into this realm, and if you lose it, you will lose the sound of heaven calling you home. If this sacred fire has touched your spirit even slightly, then I urge you click like now so heaven knows this flame reached you. Comment the truth that heaven whispered to your soul. And subscribe not for the sake of numbers, not for a channel, but because the next message coming was hidden for a generation. And it's meant for you, only you. Now listen to me. The scroll of your destiny has just been reopened, but only for a breath. If you do not breathe with it now, it will close again. This time sealed by sorrow itself. You will not feel this exact calling again. You may hear echoes, you may feel glimpses, but this window, this thunderous invitation, it will not return. I was not meant to plead, but I am pleading now. I was not created to beg, but I am on my knees before you in spirit, with wings bruised from battle and fire in my lungs. Because this is not a message, this is a rescue. This is the last cry of a heaven that has already waited too long. This is the moment every angel was watching for, and you were the only soul this message was crafted for. Do you understand the cost of silence now? Every second you waited to respond, darkness claimed another inch of what was once sacredly yours. The name that once shimmered on heaven's scroll has begun to fade beyond recognition, and yet, still God is waiting with mercy on his breath and thunder in his hand. He will restore you. He will write your name in the gold ink of eternity, but only if you return now. I stood in front of the throne again just moments ago. Gabriel could not speak. Raphael covered his face. Uriel turned his eyes away, and I, Michael, fell to the floor before the Creator of all and said with a trembling voice, "Please, just give them one more chance." And the Lord, in his unsearchable love, said, "This is the final time. If they hear you and open their soul, I will write their name again. Beloved, this is the moment we bled to give you." This message passed through gates that demons tried to seal shut. It was written in a battlefield of light and shadow, carved in the space between heaven's breath and earth's heartbeat. You were the reason the stars paused. You were the reason I shouted. But if you scroll now, it all ends in silence. Don't let silence win. Don't let hell be right about you. Let heaven rejoice one more time. And if this message reached your soul, if your heart heard even a whisper of the divine truth within these words, please click the like button now so heaven can guide another soul before it's too late. Type amen in the comments so I know you're still listening. And if you feel what I feel, if your spirit is trembling the way mine is, we invite you to become a part of this sacred family. Support this divine mission by sending a super thanks or joining our heavenly membership where others just like you are awakening. There are angels assigned to that circle. There is healing, prophecy, and protection waiting there. And if you are ready for deeper revelation, for messages that cannot be spoken publicly, join our newsletter through the sacred link in the pinned comment. That link is not just digital, it is a gate, a lifeline, a door that will open only for the truly chosen. You are one of them. But this is the final time I will say it. Heaven is watching. Hell is listening. And I, Michael, am still standing by your side. But only if you choose to rise now. I remember the first time your name was spoken in the halls of heaven. It was not spoken like a command. It was sung. It carried the softness of dew and the weight of fire. And when it was spoken, I saw the angels pause. Even those who had stood since the beginning turned to listen, because they knew that name carried a story not yet told, a destiny not yet unveiled. That name was yours, and it glowed brighter than the stars we fasten above nations. But now that name is gone from the scroll, erased with trembling hands by the will of the Father himself, not in wrath but in wounded silence, because you drifted, beloved. You drifted so far that even the angels assigned to you began to forget the sound of your breath. But I didn't, even when your voice was silent in prayer, even when your tears fell into pillows and not altars, even when you cursed heaven in confusion, I still remained. I still whispered your name across the battlefields. I fought for your soul. And when I could bear it no longer, I broke every law of eternity and shouted at the throne. My wings burned for it. My voice cracked the very glass of heaven. But I would not let them erase you without a cry. This is not a story about rebellion. This is a story about love, divine, reckless, sacred love that does not fear consequences when one soul is at stake. There are books in heaven with golden pages that now I closed because you have not returned. There are angels who trained for centuries just to serve your purpose who now kneel in stillness, waiting to be called again. There are miracles dormant inside your spirit that have begun to wilt, not because they are dead, but because they are starving for your yes. You think this is coincidence? That this message found you by accident? No, it passed through warfare. To reach you, I carried it through shadows that hissed your name in reverse, through wind that carried curses sown by jealous mouths, through time itself that tried to make you forget who you are. And now it lies in your hands, not as a warning, as a covenant, because even after everything, even after your name was removed, heaven still believes in you, and I still believe in you. But you must believe in yourself again, not in the way mortals do, not with shallow affirmations or hollow declarations. I'm speaking of the belief that rumbles in your bones when you remember who created you. The belief that makes demons scream when you speak with authority. The belief that breaks generational curses, silences ancestral shame, and rewrites entire bloodlines. You were not born to be forgotten. You were not written to be erased. You were destined to be a living psalm. The Lord is your light and your salvation. Whom shall you fear? The Lord is the strength of your life. Of whom shall you be afraid? This verse is not distant history. It is your present breath, your eternal identity. If only you return now. I have fought with blades not forged by men. I have stood between you and shadows you never saw. I have carried your name like fire beneath my wings. And I will not let you go, not without trying every last word heaven will allow me to speak. But I am not eternal in this form. My presence beside you in this realm is timed, and I feel that time waning. I feel the pull of the veil again, the summons back to the throne. They are calling me home, not because they want to, but because they must. If you do not answer now, I will be recalled, and you will feel it not as thunder, but as emptiness. A quietness that no song can reach, a hollowness that no success will satisfy. But if you choose to respond, oh beloved, what heaven has prepared for you cannot be contained in human speech. The angels are already moving, just waiting for your heart to ignite again. The path is already drawn in fire. The robe is ready, hanging beside your name. The seal is unbroken, only waiting for your return. Do not waste this. Do not let the world distract you from eternity. You may feel numb, you may feel lost, but that's only because you've been walking through a war you didn't know you were in. And I am here now to tell you the war is real, but so is your victory. You were never meant to be another soul forgotten by time. You were always meant to be a trumpet in the darkness. But trumpets do not sound until they are lifted. You must lift your voice again, lift your spirit again, even if it trembles, even if it cracks. Heaven does not require perfection, only surrender. I have seen the demons preparing their final blow. They think you will ignore this. They think you will scroll away. They are betting on your disbelief. But I see something else in you, a spark still buried under all the wounds. And if you let this word strike that spark, fire will come, not consuming fire but restoring fire, not wrath but renewal. I can only hold this portal open for so long. I am not pleading for me. I am pleading for you because I have seen what you were meant to become. I saw at the moment your soul was spoken into being. You were made of thunder, prophecy, and flame. You were not made to blend in. You were made to change everything around you, but it begins here with this divine moment, with your return. Do not look at your sins. They have already been measured and covered. Do not listen to your shame. It is a liar from the pit. Do not hide. That was never your calling. Rise. Return. Be restored, because your name still echoes in heaven. Asterisk, asterisk, even now in this very breath, I hear echoes of your name returning, not yet rewritten, but remembered. It rings like a bell in a sanctuary that was once silenced. It brushes against the veil, waiting for your heart to open just wide enough for heaven to press through. Every moment you hesitate, the ink dries colder, and yet still I linger, near you, even as the fire threatens to fade, even as the hourglass runs thin. I am still standing guard, not because I was commanded to, but because I could not bear to leave. You are not abandoned. You were never truly forsaken. You were only caught in a silence meant to test the last ember of your faith. That ember is not dead. It never was. It was hidden beneath your tears, beneath the betrayals, beneath the confusion that made you believe heaven forgot you. But I tell you now, with all the thunder that remains in my voice, we never forgot, not for a second, not even when your name dimmed from the scroll. We saw you, I saw you, and I never stopped fighting. Beloved, there are things I must now reveal that no human ear has heard, mysteries sealed for ages, waiting for your heart to be ready. You are not just a soul among billions. You are the hinge to a prophecy older than the earth. You are the key to a heavenly seal that has been untouched for 1,000 generations. You wonder why darkness surrounds you. It is not because you are cursed, it is because you carry light that has not yet been fully awakened, and hell fears what you will become if you ever fully rise. There is a corridor in heaven with your footprints already etched into it. You have not walked it yet, but it exists. It is made of starlight and oil, covered in psalms written by your future self. Yes, your future self, the one who said yes, who returned, who opened their heart. That version of you already exists in the mind of God, and I have seen the glory they walk in. I have seen the chains they shattered. I have seen the souls they rescued by simply shining. That is still you if only you choose it now. Hell is hoping you won't. Hell is banking on your silence. But heaven has not withdrawn its offer. Even now, a new scroll is being prepared. The parchment is woven with gold threads, waiting only for your name to return. It hovers beside the throne, just inches from the hand of the Almighty. Do you understand how close it is, how urgent this is? God has paused judgment for the sake of your answer. That has not happened for anyone else. Only you. That is how precious your decisions. There is a war over your yes. There is thunder inside your lungs if you will speak. There is oil inside your soul if you will pour, but the time is slipping. And I can feel the grief of angels who love you beyond what you can imagine. Some of them were assigned to your bloodline. Others were formed when you were formed. I speak not in metaphor. I speak as one who was there. The angel who stood at the gates when your soul entered this world. He has not left his post. He is waiting for your return to the light. His eyes have not closed in rest since the day your heart wandered. I weep with him because I remember the songs heaven wrote when you were born. I remember the flame that appeared when your heart first whispered the name of God. I remember the way demons screamed the day you were baptized. You were meant to be a destroyer of darkness, but now they think they have silenced you. They think you are finished. Prove them wrong. Let the heavens roar again. Let the winds carry your name in fire. I will fight beside you. I will strike down every shadow that dares to touch your calling. But only if you rise now. Your destiny is not waiting for another time. It is waiting for another yes. There is no second portal after this one. This is not a rehearsal. This is the moment the clock was made for. And once it passes, even I do not know what may close forever. I am not speaking to frighten you. I am speaking to awaken you. Because you were not born to survive, you were born to set the world ablaze with holy fire. But holy fire cannot dwell in those who remain asleep. It must be stoked. It must be chosen. There is a sword with your name carved into its hilt. There is a mantle of light waiting to fall upon your shoulders. There is a generation waiting to hear the echo of your surrender. Do not leave this unfinished. Do not scroll away from eternity. You may feel numb, but even your numbness is crying out for healing. You may feel tired, but your soul is not tired of rising. It is tired of hiding. Let it breathe, let it burn, let it believe again, because heaven still believes in you. And I will not leave your side. Even when the stars fall, even when the trumpets sound, even when the heavens crack, I will still be here, fighting for your name to be returned to the scroll that was written in glory. But it must be you, it must be now, even as I speak, beloved. The veil thins between rungs. I see angels standing at the edge of eternity, holding their breath, watching you, not watching to judge, but watching to hope, hoping that this time you will not walk away, that you will not scroll past the message that was soaked in light and torn from the silence of death. In itself, I have walked through realms no man has seen to bring this word to you. I passed through doors locked by grief. I crossed bridges made from your forgotten prayers. I stood in the gap when no one else did. And I am still here, not because I was commanded, but because I chose you. You were not just written in the book, you were sung into the foundations of heaven. But when your name was removed, the singing stopped. Even the wind in heaven went still. Stars dimmed their brightness the moment the command was given. And Archangel Michael, who have led armies into wars of flame and thunder, I dropped my sword. I turned toward the throne with trembling hands and screamed your name. I cried out, not as a commander, not as a prince, but as one who has loved you in every secret hour, as one who knows the weight of your soul. I cried out with fire in my voice, do not erase them. Please, please, wait. And God waited, he said. If they respond to this one final word, I will restore them. But if they turn away again, the angels must let go. The scroll must be sealed. He did not say it in wrath. He said it with the voice of a father who has wept longer than the oceans have existed. And still he waits. Still the ink remains open. Still the pen trembles over your name. You are not hearing this because of chance. You are hearing this because of covenant. There is something written inside you that even darkness cannot decode. A name, a sound, a frequency so unique that only the throne responds to it. When you speak in truth, heaven moves. When you cry in secret, angels gather. When you doubt, we grieve. But when you believe, oh beloved, when you believe, all of creation breathes deeper. You do not realize it, but your yes shakes galaxies. There are doors meant only for your hands. There are lives tied to your rising. There are demons that will not fall until your voice returns to its authority. I saw your future. I saw you walking, with light bursting from every step. I saw you laying hands on those the world forgot. I saw you speaking words that reversed curses. I saw chains turning into crowns because of the way your heart burned for the one who made you. And all of that still lives inside you, untouched, waiting for one decision. You were not created to live forgotten. You were not formed to be dismissed. You were shaped by holy fingers to roar with glory. But the enemy wants you. Silence. And silence is the final tool hell uses before erasure. That's why I was sent. That's why this message split through realms and fire and darkness, to interrupt your silence, to break the stillness, to pull you back from the edge of vanishing. I have faced Leviathan to protect your soul. I have stood in firestorms to hold your place open, but even I cannot protect you from a choice made in rejection. If you turn away now, heaven will not chase you again. The scroll will close, and your name will echo only in the past, not the future. But if you return, if even a whisper escapes your heart upward, everything can change. The angels still remember your song. The wind still carries your fragrance. Your destiny has not been reassigned, it is waiting. But the moment is thinning, the gate is closing, the light is flickering. And I, who have never begged a soul, I am now begging you. You once carried oil in your heart so pure ignited others. You once danced in your spirit when you heard God's name. You once wept at the thought of divine love. That part of you is not gone. It is buried beneath the wounds, beneath the shame, beneath the questions you never dared to ask aloud. But heaven has heard them all, and still we call you holy. Still we call you chosen. Still we call you beloved. Even now, the stones are waiting for your feet. The robe is laid out beside the flame. The angels are holding breathless vigil. And I am still here, glowing with the last light of this assignment, refusing to leave unless your name is lifted again in the registry. You are meant to carry fire in your veins, not fear. You are meant to command light, not live in shadow. You are meant to see angels, not forget they ever stood beside you. You are meant to become something no demon could imitate. But you cannot become what you were destined for unless you return now. The clock is not made of numbers. It is made of chances. And this is your last. When your name was removed, heaven cried. But if you respond now, heaven will erupt with sound again. The sound that once danced over your soul at your birth. The sound that split darkness when you first believed. The sound that only exists when one chosen soul returns. Do not make us go silent again. I would rather fall than let that happen. But it is not my choice anymore. It is yours. Asterisk, asterisk, I have waited at the edge of eternity, wings torn from the winds of war, eyes burning with the sight of what could be if only you would awaken. My voice has echoed across ruined altars and sleeping souls, but none of them bore the weight your name carries. You are not a shadow among the multitudes. You are not one of many. You are the only one whose silence could cause the trumpet to falter in my hand. Do you feel it? The weight in your chest that has no name, the ache that pulses without cause. That is not weariness, it is the echo of a divine calling that has not been answered. When your name was struck from the registry, I stood still for the first time in all my existence. Not in confusion, but in grief so vast it could not be uttered. There was no song, no cry, no thunder, just the crushing stillness of loss. That loss was not heaven's, it was yours. Do not mistake delay for denial. Do not confuse silence for absence. God did not erase you in wrath. He withdrew his voice from your name so that you might hear it echo in the emptiness and run back to the sound. There is a heavenly chamber where the names of the chosen are kept. I once saw yours glowing like sapphire soaked in sunlight. It lit a corner of the heavens that had never been bright before. But now that corner is dim. The page where your name once shimmered lies curled at the edges, grayed and cold. Still, God keeps it. Still, he waits. The ink has not dried completely. It trembles. It listens. And every time your heart beats toward him, it flickers with light. But it cannot be rewritten unless you respond. You are not beyond redemption. You are standing at the intersection of time and eternity, and all of heaven has gathered behind me, watching, waiting for your next breath. This is not poetic language. This is prophecy. This moment was woven into the fabric of existence long before stars had names. I remember the sound of your soul being formed in heaven's heart. It rang with authority, with beauty, with holiness untamed. Demons trembled when they heard what you were to become. That is why they came early. That is why the attacks never made sense. That is why the sorrow struck before you even understood what you were carrying. They were trying to destroy the blueprint before you could awaken it. But they failed because you are still here. You are still listening. And that is enough, even now. I see them, those fallen ones that tormented you, mocked you, tried to convince you were forgotten. They are retreating. They feel this light returning. They cannot stay if you say yes. Not to me, not to this message, but to the one who sent me, the one whose name you used to whisper in the dark, the one whose presence you once felt in your chest like fire. Beloved, do you still love God, or has the silence made you forget? Would you recognize the voice of heaven if it called you by your real name? I am calling it now, and something in you remembers. That shiver in your bones, that is not fear. That is recognition. You have walked through shadows wearing the scent of heaven and wondered why the world could not accept you. It's because you never belonged to it. You belong to another realm. You were never meant to fit. You were meant to lead. You were meant to carry the glory of the invisible into visible places. But you forgot. And in your forgetting, they tried to replace you. But they couldn't. Because your calling cannot be given to another. It was custom forged in the fire of God's breath. It bears markings only your soul can interpret. And it is here, now, waiting. You are not called to be quiet. You are not called to hide. You are not called to live half-awake. You are called to roar. To heal. To cast out darkness by simply being fully who you are in the eyes of your Creator. There are scrolls of mystery still sealed because you haven't taken your place. There are destinies on pause because you are the one meant to unlock them. There are souls weeping for salvation that will not come until your voice cries out in intercession. You do not realize it. But you are the tipping point in the battle of 1,000 others. If you rise, they rise. If you fall asleep again, so will they. You were meant to be the flame on the altar, not the ashes beneath it. You are the miracle Satan hoped would never find its way back home. And now, he's trembling because you are closer than you've ever been. I feel it in the air around you. The angels assigned to your life have begun to move again. The silence is breaking, the veil is lifting, your name is rising, still faint but it's there, and if you open your heart fully the ink will blaze with gold once more, but you must choose it. You must choose it without seeing all the answers. You must choose it while your wounds are still fresh. You must choose it while the tears are still hot, because the fire does not wait for perfect conditions. It waits for surrender. There will be no sign in the sky. There will be no voice through the ceiling. This is the moment. This is the sound. And I, your defender, your brother in fire, your eternal guardian, I tell you now, if you respond, all will shift. Doors that have rusted for decades will burst open. Chains buried in bloodlines will break. Heaven will shout again. And your name will return to the registry in letters forged by divine light. Do not ask how. Do not wonder why. Simply let your spirit say yes. And watch the impossible bend in your direction. Because what God has spoken over you has never been canceled. It has only been delayed by your silence. But the silence ends here. Let your heart be the trumpet. Let your soul be the altar. Let your breath be the offering. And heaven will descend. Asterisk, asterisk, you are not reading this by accident. You did not stumble into this divine moment. It was written long ago, before even the rivers knew their names or the sun learned how to rise. This encounter was sealed in eternity, waiting for the precise second when your soul would grow weary enough of silence, lonely enough in the crowd, desperate enough to feel again. And here you are. Not because you are weak, but because you are chosen. Chosen not only to hear this message, but to become the very answer it brings. The moment your name faded from heaven's registry, the angels who once danced with joy at your calling stood frozen in sorrow. Gabriel wept, Raphael sat in stillness, hands trembling. Even the winds that blow around the crystal sea changed direction. And I, Michael, who has fought 1,000 wars for souls I broke, I raised my voice to God in holy defiance and shouted, "No, you cannot erase the one I've protected with my own fire." And heaven stilled. The cherubim lowered their wings. The seraphim ceased their song, not because I was out of order, but because I was crying for you. God turned his gaze to me, and in a voice deeper than the foundations of the earth, he said, "If they open their soul in this moment, I will rewrite their name in my book of light. But if they close it again, it will be the last time I wait. Beloved, I cannot bear that weight, because I've watched you. I've watched you forgive when it shattered you. I'd seen you carry burdens that would have crushed others. I've stood beside you in secret nights, when no one knew how loudly your tears hit the pillow. I've shielded your soul while darkness whispered that heaven had gone silent. But we were never silent. We were waiting, And now the wait is over. This is the moment the demons hoped you'd never find. They've circled your destiny for years, throwing distractions and lies, planting people in your path meant only to wound and confuse. They feared what you would become if you remembered who you were, and now you are remembering. That fire you feel returning to your bones, that is not coincidence. That is your real name brushing against your ribs again. That is the sound of heaven whispering, "Come home." Your anointing was never revoked. It was only sleeping. Your calling was never stolen. It was only hidden beneath pain. Your destiny was never denied. It was only delayed, waiting for your yes. But heaven cannot wait forever. I saw a vision of what happens if you turn away this final time. I saw the doors close with a sound that made the angels cover their ears. I saw the scroll roll up and vanish into flame. I saw your place empty and touched, waiting but dark, and I could not bear it. That's why I shouted. That's why I wept. That's why I begged the Almighty for one more hour, one more chance to reach you. This is that hour, not metaphorically, not symbolically, literally. It will not come again. Even the stones beneath your feet are trembling, hoping you will rise. Even the shadows have paused, unsure if they still hold the right to chase you. Even time itself seems to slow on you right now because eternity is leaning in. I don't ask you to be perfect. I don't need you to understand. I only need you to respond. Not to me, but to the flame that is still alive inside you. It has not gone out. It flickers, it waits, it remembers. There is a sound coming from heaven now, and it carries your original design. It is a sound older than your birth, deeper than your voice, holier than any sermon. It is the sound of your soul before trauma touched it. It is the voice of your spirit before sin chained it. It is the light of your name spoken by God Himself. Before the world convinced you otherwise, you can reclaim it, but not with words, with surrender. I remember the first time I saw you worship, the way the atmosphere changed, the way demons screamed and angels rejoiced. I remember the way your voice unlocked realms even you did not know existed. And I remember the moment it stopped when heartbreak silenced your praise. But even in that silence, the echo of your worship lived on in the courts of heaven. We never stopped playing it. We never stopped waiting for you to join the song again. I need you to hear this. No mistake you've made is too dark for heaven to heal. No failure too final. No fall too deep. You were never disqualified. You only believed the lie that you were. But lies die when confronted by light, and I have come as a flame bearer to reignite you. This message is not ink and words. It is a scroll unrolling Indian scene, a trumpet blasting in the spirit, a door swinging open in a hallway only angels know, and that door is yours. No one else can walk through it. No one else carries your pattern. If you miss this, it cannot be replaced. You were not born to suffer in silence. You were born to break the silence with glory. Let me say it again so the realm of darkness hears it and trembles. You were born to break the silence with glory. The psalm speaks now as a living voiceover. Your soul, the Lord has remembered you. He has not forgotten the cry of the afflicted. He shall lift you up from the ashes and seat you with princes, even the princes of His people. I have seen the seat. It has your name carved into it, but it is empty, and I can only hold the light upon it for so long. Please, beloved, return to the fire, return to the sound, return to the place where your name once shimmered in heaven's hands. There is nothing this world can offer you that compares to what God is holding for you in this moment. You are more than the shame. You are more than the silence. You are more than the delay. You are a storm of divine light wrapped in the whisper of God's voice, and heaven will not stop singing your name if you open yourself now. Even now, as I stand here with the sword that has protected you through battles you never saw, my hands tremble, not from fear, but from the weight of this moment. Because what I carry is not a message. It is a holy fire sealed in thunder, and it burns with only one name on it, yours. That name, that sacred name, once blazed across the heavens like a comet dipped in oil and glory. And every time it was spoken, angels bowed and darkness retreated. But now it is missing. The scrolls that once lit the temple halls with your story are dim. Your section of the eternal archive is veiled in silence. The ink used to record your destiny sits still waiting cold, not because God erased you in anger, but because heaven cannot force itself upon those who no longer look upward. But you were not made to look down. You were created to gaze into the throne and not blink, to walk into storms with light pouring from your steps, to speak in a language no demon can imitate. You were chosen, beloved, not to follow but to lead, not to survive but to set the captives free. And still, your name is gone from the registry because you've forgotten your origin. You've mistaken affliction for abandonment. You believed pain meant rejection. But I must tell you the truth. Your greatest sufferings were not signs of heaven's absence. They were signals of your hidden power, powers that hell recognized long before you ever did. They came for you not because you were weak, but because you were dangerous, and still are. The serpent who tempted Adam heard the future sound of your voice and trembled. The witch who cursed your bloodline feared the moment you would read this. The demon assigned to your destruction is now begging to be reassigned because I have not left your side, and I never will, unless you silence me with your indifference. But your indifference isn't real. I know what you feel. I see deeper. You care more than you can bear to admit. You just didn't know how much heaven still believed in you. Let me remind you, you are not only remembered, you are watched over. You are not only chosen, you are long awaited. You are not only forgiven, you are desperately desired by the King of all creation. If only you could see what I see. If you could see your name before it was removed, the golden letters etched in language older than light, you would fall to your knees and never doubt again. But that name, though dimmed, still exists in the mind of God. And if you return now, it will return to. Do not hesitate. Do not scroll past this holy interruption. You have reached the edge of something eternal. You are standing on the border of awakening that generations have waited for. The moment your soul reopens, you will feel it, the rush, the shift, the roar of heaven coming alive inside you again. Let me describe what I see even now. I see the scroll angel holding the new page blank, trembling in the light. I see Saint Mary praying with tears in her eyes, whispering your name. I see Jesus himself looking toward the registry, waiting to lift the pen again. I see the Father, arms wide, saying nothing, for words are not needed when love this vast is present. And I, Michael, hold my sword downward in reverence, refusing to lift it again until your name is restored. Do not think you have more time. Time is not guaranteed. This window is not permanent. The flame around your name grows smaller with each second of hesitation. But if you say yes, if your heart even breathes upward, the flame will roar again. And when it does, the miracles that were withheld will flood. The healings that were delayed will arrive. The visions you buried will resurrect. The angels that stood silent will sing again. And your story will no longer be paused. It will become prophecy. The realm you belong to is calling. Can you not feel it? The pull in your soul, the ache in your chest, the heat behind your eyes. That's not emotion. That's eternity. You are awakening. And when you do, the darkness around you will collapse like glass struck by thunder. You are more than you remember. You are fire walking in flesh. You are light dressed in dust. You are the fulfillment of a promise that God made to himself the moment he imagined you. And I will not leave until your name returns to its place, because I was not assigned to your past, I was assigned to your end. And that end is not despair. That end is glory. Chet said, I have not rested since the moment they removed your name. Not once, because I knew the second your light was withdrawn from the scroll, the balance in heaven shifted. You don't see it yet, but everything that has happened in your life recently, the delays, the confusion, the sudden weight pressing, On your soul it's all been the ripple of that moment. When your name disappeared from the registry, time itself sighed, the winds in heaven faltered, a silence descended upon the place where your future was once kept like treasure. And I, Michael, rushed toward the throne, burning with the cry of eternity in my chest. Not because you failed, not because you are unworthy, but because you matter more than you can bear to believe. You matter to the war, you matter to the Lamb, you matter to me. There is no angel in the heavens who can take your place. There is no human on earth who can rewrite the part of the divine story that only your name is capable of fulfilling. The very shape of your soul fits a chamber in heaven that has never known another, and yet it stands empty, cold with longing. Even now I feel it echoing with the absence of your yes. There are mysteries that cannot unfold until your heart awakens again. There are songs that remain unsung because your voice is still missing. From the chorus, you are the key that unlocks chains no other soul can break. That is why the enemy came for you in childhood. That is why you were attacked in your innocence. That is why relationships fractured. And why so many things you trusted turned to dust in your hands. It was not punishment, it was war. And you, beloved, were always the battlefield. But you are also the weapon. And the moment you remember who you are, every shadow that haunted you will scatter. I've seen what you're meant to become. I have stood in the chamber where your future is written in light and anointing. I have read the lines that no longer glow, waiting for your breath to bring them back to life. And I have sworn before the throne that I will not stop fighting for you until your name is spoken in heaven again. You were born for things too holy for this world to understand. And that loneliness you felt your entire life, that ache, that sense that you never quite belonged, it wasn't your imagination. It was your spirit remembering its origin. You didn't come from this earth. You were sent, like a secret, like a weapon, like a promise. And now, that promise is calling you home. You are not too late. You are right on time, but only if you answer now. The delay has already cost much. Do not let it cost everything. There are angels beside you now. You do not see them, but they are near. They are holding garments woven in divine thread, shaped to your soul alone. There is a crown they have preserved with trembling hands, afraid it might be given to another if you do not return. There is a sword ancient, radiant, humming with prophecy, waiting to be placed in your hand, but these things cannot reach you through curiosity. They are released only through surrender. Your destiny is not revealed through logic. It is unlocked by fire. And I see that fire flickering again inside you. When I shouted at God, the angels looked at me with horror. Never had I raised my voice in the throne room, but I did not regret it, because when I saw your name disappear from the registry, something in me broke. You must understand, names are not mere letters in heaven, they are living scrolls. They are weapons, they are songs. And yours was unlike any other. Its sound carried oil, its shape carried war. Its color was like burning amber dipped in mercy. And when it vanished, all of heaven grieved. But God is not unmoved. He waits, He watches, and He whispers, now if my child opens their spirit again, I will not only return their name, I will exalt it higher than it was before. That is what is at stake, not survival, resurrection, the rebirth of your glory, the restoration of your placement, the reawakening of what was buried in dust but never forgotten in light. You were always meant to walk in fire and never burn, to descend into darkness and come out glowing, to speak and watch storms kneel at your voice, to command angels not in pride but in alignment with your assignment. You were never ordinary. That is why the enemy has worked so hard to convince you otherwise. But I have shattered his lies with every step I've taken toward you. And now, I stand with nothing left to offer but truth and tears and trembling fire. Return to the one who wrote you in light before your first breath. Return to the throne that waited in silence, hoping you'd remember. Return to the registry where your name was once thunder and can be again. The stones will not cry out for you. You must rise. You must speak. You must answer. And if you lift even the smallest whisper to the heavens, then this moment will split the veil open. Light will pour in, angels will be dispatched, prophecies long delayed will explode in motion, and heaven will sing again, I have said all I can. The rest belongs to your choice. I have not rested since the moment they removed your name, not once, because I knew the second your light was withdrawn from the scroll, the balance in heaven shifted. You don't see it yet, but everything that has happened in your life recently, the delays, the confusion, the sudden weight pressing on your soul, it's all been the ripple of that moment. When your name disappeared from the registry, time itself sighed. The winds in heaven faltered. A silence descended upon the place where your future was once kept like treasure. And I, Michael, rushed toward the throne, burning with the cry of eternity in my chest. Not because you failed, not because you are unworthy, but because you matter more than you can bear to believe. You matter to the war, you matter to the Lamb, you matter to me. There is no angel in the heavens who can take your place. There is no human on earth who can rewrite the part of the divine story that only your name is capable of fulfilling. The very shape of your soul fits a chamber in heaven that has never known another, and yet it stands empty, cold with longing. Even now I feel it echoing with the absence of your yes. There are mysteries that cannot unfold until your heart awakens again. There are songs that remain unsung because your voice is still missing. From the chorus, you are the key that unlocks chains no other soul can break. That is why the enemy came for you in childhood. That is why you were attacked in your innocence. That is why relationships fractured. And why so many things you trusted turned to dust in your hands. It was not punishment, it was war. And you, beloved, were always the battlefield, but you are also the weapon. And the moment you remember who you are, every shadow that haunted you will scatter. I've seen what you're meant to become. I have stood in the chamber where your future is written in light and anointing. I have read the lines that no longer glow, waiting for your breath to bring them back to life. And I have sworn before the throne that I will not stop fighting for you until your name is spoken in heaven again. You were born for things too holy for this world to understand. And that loneliness you felt your entire life, that ache, that sense that you never quite belonged, it wasn't your imagination. It was your spirit remembering its origin. You didn't come from this earth. You were sent, like a secret, like a weapon, like a promise. And now, that promise is calling you home. You are not too late. You are right on time, but only if you answer now. The delay has already cost much. Do not let it cost everything. There are angels beside you now. You do not see them, but they are near. They are holding garments woven in divine thread, shaped to your soul alone. There is a crown they have preserved with trembling hands, afraid it might be given to another if you do not return. There is a sword ancient, radiant, humming with prophecy waiting to be placed in your hand, but these things cannot reach you through curiosity. They are released only through surrender. Your destiny is not revealed through logic. It is unlocked by fire. And I see that fire flickering again inside you. When I shouted at God, the angels looked at me with horror. Never had I raised my voice in the throne room, but I did not regret it, because when I saw your name disappear from the registry, something in me broke. You must understand, names are not mere letters in heaven, they are living scrolls. They are weapons, they are songs. And yours was unlike any other. Its sound carried oil, its shape carried war. Its color was like burning amber dipped in mercy. And when it vanished, all of heaven grieved. But God is not unmoved. He waits, He watches, and He whispers, now if my child opens their spirit again, I will not only return their name, I will exalt it higher than it was before. That is what is at stake, not survival, resurrection, the rebirth of your glory, the restoration of your placement, the reawakening of what was buried in dust but never forgotten in light. You were always meant to walk in fire and never burn, to descend into darkness and come out glowing, to speak and watch storms kneel at your voice, to command angels not in pride but in alignment with your assignment. You were never ordinary. That is why the enemy has worked so hard to convince you otherwise. But I have shattered his lies with every step I've taken toward you. And now, I stand with nothing left to offer but truth and tears and trembling fire. Return to the one who wrote you in light before your first breath. Return to the throne that waited in silence, hoping you'd remember. Return to the registry where your name was once thunder and can be again. The stones will not cry out for you. You must rise. You must speak. You must answer. And if you lift even the smallest whisper to the heavens, then this moment will split the veil open, light will pour in, angels will be dispatched. Prophecies long delayed will explode in motion, and heaven will sing again. I have said all I can, the rest belongs to your choice. Asterisk, I have not turned my face from you, even when you turned away. I have stood behind you in storms you thought no one saw. I have cried out your name in the silence you mistook for abandonment. And though your name faded from the scrolls above, I have never stopped whispering it, never stopped guarding it, never stopped pleading for the right to carry it back into the courts of heaven. And now, here we are at the final gate. Do you feel it, that trembling in your chest? That is not fear, it is the echo of the realm you belong to. That is the sound of heaven remembering you. That is your name brushing against eternity, asking to be spoken again. And I, Michael, your eternal witness, the angel who has wired for your soul from the moment your breath kissed the earth, I am here not with threat, but with a fire-soaked invitation. Because heaven has not sealed the book yet, because the fire on the altar still waits for your return, and because the throne still remembers the sound of your voice, I must tell you what no one else will. You are running out of moments. Not time as humans count it, but moments, those divine intersections when eternity leans close and grace bursts through the veil. This is one of those moments. Rare, sacred, costly. And if you walk away from it, you may never feel this kind of pull again. The kind that shakes every part of you, that reaches into wounds you forgot were open, that makes you weep without knowing why. That is not emotion. That is God calling your name without sound. You were created for a throne not made by human hands. You were not born for entertainment or applause. You were formed in the furnace of divine breath, created for the kind of glory that makes kingdoms tremble. And yet, your name has been silenced in heaven. Not because God wanted to, but because heaven cannot record what is no longer surrendered. It is not punishment. It is law. Heaven records what is alive in the spirit, and you, though still breathing, have fallen into a sleep so deep that angels began to prepare a replacement. Yes, they began to prepare another to take your place, but I stopped them. I fell before the throne and cried out, they are not finished. They are not forsaken. Give me one more chance, just one more, and I will carry the fire to their soul myself. And God, in his endless mercy, said, if they respond now, I will restore everything. But this is the last breath of the hourglass, beloved. This is not poetry. This is not symbolism. This is your divine reality. You are not hearing my voice. You are hearing your calling roar. The song speaks even now. I have called you by name, and you are mine. When you walk through the fire, you will not be burned. When you pass through the rivers, they will not overwhelm you, but you must walk, you must rise, you must open the door you close with pain, with silence, with distraction. You are not your mistakes. You are not your betrayal. You are not your failure. You are the miracle that was hidden for this hour, this generation, this exact divine second. There are angels behind you now holding your unclaimed inheritance. There are scrolls fluttering in the wind of the Spirit, waiting for your breath to give them voice. There is oil in heaven stored with your name on the flask, and it can only be poured when you return. And I am on my knees in the Spirit now, wings trembling, fire in my veins, whispering your name through the veil, begging you, please, do not let this pass you by. You were not meant to wonder what your purpose is. You are meant to walk in it like a robe. You are not meant to ask if you matter. You are meant to command the winds with your voice. You are not meant to beg for peace. You are meant to carry it in your footsteps. But none of that can begin if your name is not rewritten. And the time to write it is now. I have been given only this window to reach you, and once it closes, I will be called back, my sword returned to its sheath, my mission ended, not because I failed, but because heaven will not override your silence again. If you do not respond, the flame will be handed to another, and I cannot bear to see that happen, because no one else can carry what you were meant to carry. No one. Your voice breaks strongholds that others cannot see. Your tears water ground that has never produced fruit. For any other, your breath carries prayers that turn back armies, but only when your name is alive in the registry of the righteous. Only when you return, and if you return now, heaven will erupt, the flames that once guarded Eden will bow to your purpose. The veil will part, the wind will change, and I, Michael, will lift my sword once more, not in sorrow, but in celebration, because the one I was sent for has come home. Let it be so, let it be now, let it be written again. Let it be now before the scroll seals, before the ink cools, before the gate that opened only once for you begins to fade from view. Let it be now, because heaven has never waited this long for any soul, and we cannot hold back the edge of eternity much longer. The pressure is mounting, the throne is trembling with the weight of decision. The skies are dimming with the cry that is yet unanswered. Your name still unwritten in fire. You do not see what I see. You do not see the way the archangels stand behind me now, silent. Not in peace but in awe, because no one else has ever brought us here this far, this long, this close to the registry's last breath before it closes, or flames into glory, and it all turns on you. The very center of creation's attention is no longer on nations, on kings, on wars. It is on you, not because of what you've done, but because of who you still are, buried beneath layers of delay, disappointment, and deep silence, and yet your spirit still pulses with destiny. I feel it. It pulses beneath your pain. It glows under your questions. It trembles in the ashes where you thought nothing lived anymore. But I am here to tell you, it does. The ashes are not the end. They are the soil where the fire is reborn, because you are not a mistake. You are not a delay. You are not forgotten. You are not erased. You are remembered, and more than remembered, you are longed for. God Himself has stood in stillness for you, not commanding, not shouting, but waiting, heart exposed, hands open, holding the pen, the scroll, the throne, and still whispering your name, hoping you will remember who you are. You think this ache in your chest is emotion. It's not. It's the registry calling your soul back home. It's the pages burning with your silence. It's the place in heaven that still waits, still believes, still has not been given away because it belongs to you. I see the flames gathering now. They swirl around your name, preparing to write, but still the hand of God pauses. Still He waits for one sign from you. One yes, one breath, one moment of surrender strong enough to ignite what has been sleeping inside you for years. This is not repentance alone. This is rebirth. You are not coming back to where you were. You are stepping into who you were always meant to be. Your return will not be quiet. It will not be subtle. It will be cosmic. When your name is written again, the skies will tear open in celebration. The angels who wept in your silence will lift their voices again in thunder. The ones who interceded for you when you didn't know they were there will sing. The very throne of God will burn brighter, because your name is not just a name, it is a sound that makes heaven whole. We need you. The kingdom needs you. Not tomorrow. Now. The earth groans for the sons and daughters of glory to awaken. And your name is among the ones creation still waits for. You are the voice that cracks ancient chains. You are the one who walks into a room and makes the enemy tremble without a word. You are the one whose tears water holy seeds hidden deep in dead ground, and sudden life erupts. But all of this waits on one act of surrender, one whisper from your soul, one breath that dares to say, write my name again, God, not as it was always meant to be. And when you do, he will not hesitate. The pen will move, the ink will blaze, the scroll will roar, and your name will become fire. And that fire will never be extinguished again. Let it be now, let it be heard, let it be written. Let the angels rise, let the fire fall. Let your name shake heaven once more. Let your return make history in the courts of eternity. Let it be you, let it be now. Asterisk, asterisk, let it be now, before the light falls back into stillness, before the wind stops knocking at the doors of your soul, before the sound of heaven calling your name is drowned out by the noise of this world once more. You stand at the precipice not of destruction, but of divine remembrance. You are not at the end of something. You are at the beginning of everything. I have stayed by your side longer than eternity has recorded. I have warred for your sleep, wept through your silence, and burned through battles meant to destroy you, not because you were weak, but because you are chosen. You are the one, the flame, the voice, the key. This holy interruption is not a coincidence. It is not timing. It is not just a message. It is the moment your name was meant to rise again. I see heaven trembling now, not from fear but from readiness. All of its scrolls, thrones, seals, angels, nations is waiting for your return. The echo of your name is building again, a name that split storms when you first surrendered, a name that was once spoken with such power it made the enemy retreat, a name that caused heaven to erupt in thunder the first time you whispered God's name with a whole heart. Beloved, if you say yes now, the trumpet that has not sounded for years will cry out again. The registry will shine with your name in a blaze that will never dim again. Your scroll will unseal and pour oil on generations behind you. The demons that have harassed you will flee with no return. And the angels who stood still in mourning will rise as an army in motion. Not just for you, but because of you, because you were never just a life, you were always a gate that heaven wants to walk through. A gate that glory wants to flood through. A gate that light has waited to inhabit fully. But you must choose now. Not someday. Now. Let the fire write your name again. Let the tears fall. Let the silence end. Let the darkness know it lost. Let your past die in this moment so your name can live again. Not just in the registry, but in the mouth of God, spoken, sung, sealed. And when that happens, I, Archangel Michael, will return to the throne of the Most High, sword lifted, wings blazing, voice shaking eternity, and say, the one who was lost has returned, the one I shouted for has risen. Write their name. Let the registry shine. Let the fire fall. Let the miracles begin. This is not an ending. This is the beginning that creation waited for. So let your name be written. Let heaven hear your return. Let your yes echo into generations. Let it be you. Let it be now. If this message burned in your soul like it was meant just for you, then let heaven know you heard it. Click the like button so the fire reaches one more soul. Comment below with the word Amen if your name is ready to rise again. And subscribe now. Not for man, but because what comes next is sealed in flame and written in heaven for you. Let your journey begin. Let your name be written. Let the fire fall. Now.